Hey everybody, welcome. In this video, we're going to look at some stem changing verbs or boot verbs in Spanish. There are different kinds where certain vowels change to different vowels, but we're just going to look at one kind today. And these are verbs where an E will change to an IE. I'll give you some examples, some different verbs, so maybe take notes along the way so you have everything that you need. If you're just wondering really quick, like why are they called stem changing verbs? Well, let me tell you. So like when you guys are in class and maybe you're learning the verb comer and it means to eat, and you know that if I take the ER off and I add O to it, I have como and that means I eat. Well, in that process, when I'm doing that, if after I take the ER off, the COM, that is the stem of the verb. So that's what's going to change in these verbs that I'm about to show you. Okay, so on the screen here, I've got some verbs, 8 actually to be exact, where the E changes to an IE. You will note that some of the E's are bolded. I did that to show you which E it is that's going to change to IE. Now, some of them only have one E, so it's super easy, but for others, it might be a little more confusing, so that's why I did that for you. Let's take a look at what these would look like in its little conjugation chart, okay? All right, let's do the first one, for example, as an example, okay? So we got the verb cerrar. We'll draw up our little chart. We know that yo goes in the top left. So what's going to happen here is that E is going to change to an IE, or you can look at it as adding an I to it if you want to look at it that way. So we got cierro, so it's I close. Yo cierro la ventana, I close the window. The to form is going to be cierras, with an AS like that, cierras. So it's you close. If I drop the S, I got the he, she form, so cierra. And then if I add an N to it, I'll have the ellos or ustedes form for cierran, like that. Now, this is where its change does not happen. In the nosotros form, you don't do that. So it's just going to be cerramos. And then the vosotros will be also like that without the change, and it'll be cerrais. So take a second, write those down if you haven't already done so. Pause the video if you want to. As you're hopefully finishing up those notes, I'm going to tell you before I go to the next one that when you just look at a verb in Spanish, like say it's a verb you've never seen before, can you know that it's one of these stem changing verbs? No, it's not going to happen that way. But the way to know or remember that they're stem changing verbs is just to use them. So I'm going to give you one that's super useful in Spanish right now. We'll do the very bottom one, querer, on the board, so get ready for taking some notes. Okay, so the same thing's going to happen. I'm going to have QU, and then that E is going to change to an IE. So quiero. Now, you can actually use this right away if you go to a restaurant or the wait staff speaks Spanish, you want to order something, you can say quiero. Now, I know that it might seem rude saying I want something, but if you say, yo quiero el burrito, por favor, right? I want the burrito, please, that's fine. You can actually use quiero immediately to order some food if you wanted to, or maybe buy something from a taco truck or something like that. The to form will be quieres. Notice it ends with an ES right now because we're looking at an ER verb rather than the AR verb cerrar that we did just a second ago. If I drop the S, I'll have the he, she form. If I add an N to it, I'll have the ellos form. Quieren. And remember, the nosotros, it does not change, so it's just going to be queremos, so we want. And then the vosotros will be queréis, like that. Another way you can use this verb right away is if you just want to ask someone, what do you want? And again, this can be seen as polite. So, ¿qué quiere usted? Be like, what do you want in a formal sense with the usted? Or maybe you're just asking your friend, ¿qué quieres comer? What do you want to eat? Or ¿qué quieres hacer? What do you want to do? Super useful verb, really good to use. A hint or a way to help you remember it that it's a boot verb is just to use it right away. Just think in your head, like as you're walking around or by yourself somewhere in your car, just say things to yourself what you want to do. Yo quiero jugar al baloncesto. I want to play basketball. Or yo quiero jugar videojuegos. I want to play video games. Yo quiero visitar a mi amiga. I want to visit my friend. So just using it over and over again is a super useful way to remember it. Let's look at one more just to help you remember it, okay? All right, so we're going to look at the verb preferir because preferir also super useful, and it's going to do the same thing. Now, while I'm drawing this chart, I'm going to tell you that sometimes teachers call these verbs boot verbs, as in the type of shoe, boot, and I'm going to show you why right now. So let's draw this up. If you want to pause the video really quick and just see if you can do this by yourself without me doing it, maybe test yourself, do that. But here comes what it would look like. So it's that second E that's going to change. So I prefer is going to be prefiero, like that. So again, same thing. You can say I prefer this. Yo prefiero los libros de ciencia ficción. I prefer sci-fi books or something. The to form will be prefieres. Again, you can use that right away. Asking someone, what do you prefer? ¿Qué prefieres? Coca-Cola or Pepsi? If you drop the S, we'll have the he, she form, prefiere. Add an N to it, we'll have the ellos form, prefieren, or ustedes, prefieren. Okay. The nosotros, that change won't happen. It'll be preferimos. So maybe you're with a friend and someone asks you when you're out at the at the restaurant, what do you want to eat? You can say, oh, or what do you want to drink? You could just say, preferimos agua, por favor. We prefer water, please. I almost said we prefer agua. And then the vosotros will be preferís, like that, with an accent mark on the I. So a second ago, I mentioned that sometimes teachers will call these things boot verbs. Now, the reason that is, it's just to help you remember where the change takes place. So if I were to draw a boot, and I'm not an artist, so this is going to be really bad. But if I were to draw kind of like a boot around this chart, it will help you remember that the verbs that are inside the boot are the ones that have a change where the E goes to an IE, or there are other boot verbs where O goes to a UE and stuff like that. But that's where the change takes place. Remember that the nosotros and the vosotros do not have that change. Want to test? Sure, stick around. I'm going to give you, 5 conjugations just to see if you can do it. So you can pause the video once I put those up. Okay, so on your screen, you've got 5 sentences for you with 5 verbs. You got to change them. Pause the video really quick just to test yourself, and then I'm going to start giving you answers right about now. All right, I think it's easier to type, so let's do that. So ellos with empezar is going to be empiezan. Ellos empiezan la tarea en la biblioteca means they start the homework in the library. Número 2, y tú qué, it'll be quieres comer hoy. And you, what do you want to eat today? 3, la profesora piensa jugar. Look at, I failed to mention or put on here earlier that pensar means to think, but it can also mean to plan when you put it in front of another verb. So the teacher plans to play bloquet. El número 4, yo entiendo los verbos ahora. I understand the verbs now. And then número 5, mi amigo y yo cerramos la puerta cuando entramos. So we close the door when we enter. I'm going to put a question up here at the top. Maybe answer it in the comment section just to make sure you're getting it and understanding it. If you have questions, of course, at the very end, leave me some and I'll answer them for you. Okay, so the final question is, ¿qué deporte o actividad prefieres? So what sport or activity do you prefer? Drop your answer in the comment section. I'll put my answer there for you so you can see mine. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Hasta luego.